Welcome to Wheelock's Latin, Chapter 15. This chapter will be split into two separate videos. The first video, this one, will look at cardinal and ordinal numbers and their declensions. The second video, we will look at the new uses of the cases. So let's learn about some numbers. There are two kinds of numbers. Cardinal numbers, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ordinal numbers, which means 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. We will start with cardinal numbers on this slide. Things you need to know about numbers. They're actually adjectives. They modify nouns. As adjectives that modify nouns, some of them decline and must agree in gender, number, and case, like unus, una, unum. It is a 2-1-2 adjective, but it's a special 2-1-2 with the endings we learned in Chapter 9. So that means nominative is unus, una, unum, masculine, feminine, neuter. Genitive across the board ends in long I, us, unius, unius, unius. Dative ends in long I, uni, uni, uni. But then after that, we return to the regular 2-1-2 declension that you know and love. The number for 2 is duo, dui, duo. It's a mixed declension, has some forms from 2-1-2 and some forms from the third. We will learn it on the next slide. The number 3 is tres tria. It is across the board a third declension I stem, which we will look at on the next slide. After the number 3, they no longer decline. So the number for 4 is quatuor. Indeclinable, it means no matter what noun it's modifying, no matter the case or the gender of that number, the form of 4 is just quatuor. Same with number 5, quinque, also indeclinable. Number 6, sex. Turns out sex is much less fun in Latin than in English. Number 7, septem. Number 8, octo. Number 9, novem, or noem in the proper pronunciation. And number 10, decem. Decem gives us words like decimal. All of the geometry words like octagon come from the previous ones. All of those after 3, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, all of those are indeclinable. Once we get to 11, as in many languages, you say 1 and 10, so undecem, duodecem, tridecem, quatuordecem, quindecem, sedecem, notice the X has disappeared, septendecem, notice that M has turned into an N, septendecem. And then once we get to 18, we start doing 20 minus. So we have duodewigenti, which is 2 less than 20. 19 is undewigenti, which is 1 less than 20. And 20 is wiginti, if you hadn't guessed. Then we start saying 20 and, so 20 and 1, unus, una, unum. Back to declining. Numbers 11 through 20 did not decline. Once we get up to 30, we say triginta, and then we follow that pattern for 40, quadraginta, quinquaginta, 50, sexaginta, 60, 70 is septuaginta, 80 is octoginta, 90 nonaginta, 100 centum. None of those things decline. Once we get to 200, we have 2 and 100, so ducenti. Now things decline again. So ducenti is masculine plural, ducentai feminine plural, ducenta neuter plural. Same with 300, 400, 500, 600, etc. So to review, things that decline are in blue boxes. Unus, una, unum, you already know that declension, you learned it in Chapter 9. Duo, dui, duo on the next slide. Tres tria on the next slide. Then don't forget that when it's 20 and 1, or 30 and 1, or 30 and 2, you have to decline 1, 2, and 3. And then when you get to the 200, 300, 400, etc., it's a 2-1-2 adjective in the plural. So let's go learn some declensions for 2 and 3. 2, duo, dui, duo. The dictionary entry is the masculine nominative, dui is the feminine nominative, and duo is the neuter nominative. Of course, these things don't exist in the singular, they only exist in the plural. The genitive is duorum, duarum, duorum. That looks like everything you would expect from a regular 2-1-2 adjective in the plural only. But then duobus, 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 we've borrowed some forms from the third declension. Then back to duos, duos, duo, and third declension endings duobus, duobus, duobus. So you can see things that look like regular 2-1-2 adjectives in the purple endings, do-I, then genitive orum, arum, orum, and accusative os and os. You can see third declension endings in the dative and ablative, third declension plural, bus, bus, bus. And then the last forms in the green underline are a relic of once upon a time, in addition to the singular and the plural, there used to be such a thing called the dual endings. Plural was only used for 3 or more, and dual was used for 2 and exactly 2. So aren't you glad that things have been simplified to just singular and plural? Let's look at the word three, tres tria. Tres is the masculine and feminine nominative, and tria is the neuter nominative. Again, there is no plural, obviously, or there's no singular, damn. There's only plural, tres and tria. So it follows a regular third declension I stem endings. So trium for the genitive, all 3 genders. Tribus is the dative, all 3 genders. Tres for the masculine and feminine, and then tria for the neuter. And then tribus for the ablative plural. So if you look at the ace ibis endings, it's what you learned in the third declension. And then, of course, we just added third declension I stems, and so you'll recognize ia, ium, and ia as I stem endings. Third declension I stem across the board. We also learn in this chapter the adjective 1,000. It is indeclinable. But there is also a noun, milia, which means thousands. It is declinable. And in fact, it is a neuter plural noun that declines like a third declension I stem. So it's plural only, so milia, thousands in the nominative, milium in the genitive, milibus, milia, milibus in the rest of the declension. So before we leave this particular video, let's go look at some ordinal numbers. How do you say first, second, and third? These, again, are adjectives. First is primus, prima, primum. It's a regular 2-1-2 adjective. And in fact, all of these are going to be 2-1-2 adjectives. Second is secundus, secunda, secundum. Third, tertius, tertia, tertium. If you've ever heard words like tertiary, this is where it comes from. Fourth, quartus aum, gives us things like quarter. Fifth, quintus aum. Sixth, sextus aum. Quintus and sextus are common Roman names. Seventh, septimus aum, also a common Roman name. Eighth, octavus, octavus aum. Ninth, nonus aum. 10th, decimus aum. Our months in the Roman calendar, October used to be the 8th month, November was the 9th month, and December was the 10th month. And then they shoved in January and February in the beginning, and they messed up the whole system. So if you want to learn the rest of the ordinal numbers, go look them up on Wheelock, page 50. That's it for the first video. If you want to learn about the new uses of the cases, go look at the second video.